Hey guys, so in today's video I'm going to be talking about The House of 100 Whispers by Graham Masterton. And straight off the bat I'm just going to say I absolutely loved this book. And this was a book from I think about 3 months ago maybe, from the Abominable Book Club, and yeah, I love this book so much. So on the back here it says, on a windswept moor, an old house guards its secrets. All Hallows Hall is a rambling Tudor mansion on the edge of a bleak and misty moor. It is not a place that many would choose to live. Yet the former governor of Dartmoor Prison did just that. Now he's dead, and his children, long estranged, are set to inherit his estate. So this book, I have a lot of feelings about this book and it's been a little while since I've actually read this book because I lent it to my dad straight after I finished it, and he enjoyed it as well. But yeah, I still very vividly remember everything pretty much that happens in this book. So like it says, it sets off with a murder or death. A guy, the former prison guard of Dartmoor Prison, dies in his house, and his children arrive at the house to kind of go through the will and discuss, you know, where they're going to go from there, what they're going to do with the property, this and that. And the siblings are all very different, 2 brothers and a sister. They have all grown up, they're adults, they all have their own families, and they've come to this house to, yeah, sort out the will and sort through things. Until one of the little boys, who is the son of one of the children, goes missing. And this book, the way this book is written, I really enjoyed the writing style. It's very well paced, because when I started off reading this book, or when I read the back of this book, I was like, okay, this is going to be some kind of haunted house kind of story. And then when the little boy goes missing, you're like, okay, now it's going to be like a thriller, like are they going to find the kid? What's happened to him? It's going to be that kind of story. And then something else happens and you're like, oh, so it's more of a paranormal story? And then something else happens and you're like, it's a folklore story? And then something else happens and you're like, it's a little bit sci-fi? It's a little bit like... This book just keeps you guessing throughout the entire book. Like, I literally had no idea where this book was going. There were so many different things that happened in this book that took you into different places. I was like, there is no way this book is going to be able to wrap up everything in this book. There's just no way. There's going to be so many questions, open questions about this book by the end. You're going to be like, okay, but what about this? And then what about this? Why did this happen? There's no way he's going to be able to wrap up everything in this. And yet he did. And he did it really well. And this is probably one of my most favourite books I've read this year. I highly recommend it. And the funny thing is, when I went on Goodreads, I've never read by this author before. And when I went on Goodreads to check out other people's reviews, people who had read other books by him were like, oh, this is my least favourite out of all the books he's written. So I'm like, if I loved this book, then I'm just going to absolutely love everything else he's written. So I'm definitely going to have to research his other stories and pick some up, because this was just really cool. I really enjoyed this book. It really kept me guessing. Every time you thought you knew what was happening, something else happened. And you were like, what the hell? So yeah, I pretty much could not recommend this book highly enough, especially for October. It's a really good October read. If you like thrillers and horrors, you're really gonna like this. It's very like yeah, it has a little bit of everything for everyone. I feel like there are a few moments where you're like, why are you not doing this? Because there's one thing that's a little bit obvious in this book. I was like, why are you not doing that? And the ending does get a little bit cheesy. There is like a little bit, I don't want to say anything because I don't really want to give too much away, but there is something that happens in this book where you're like, that's a little bit ridiculous and a bit cheesy. But overall, I really enjoyed this book. I just thought it was a really interesting read. It's definitely one to give a go if you've never read anything by this author before. Definitely give it a go. Was yeah, just really interesting. I really enjoyed the writing. I really enjoyed all the different aspects he put into it with the Moor, and there's a little bit of like the folklore in there, and yeah, it just has a lot in here, a little bit for everyone, I would say. Yeah, if you have read anything by this author before and you have recommendations of other books that he's written, then please let me know, because like I said, people who had read lots of his books were like, oh, this is probably the worst in all of his books he's written. Still enjoyed it. He's still got pretty good reviews on this book. But yeah, if this is one that I really loved, then I'm really intrigued to see what else he's written. It says a unique take on a haunted house horror, and it definitely is. And it says frightening and original, and that was by Peter James. Which I also agree, it was very original. I read a lot of haunted house stories because it's like my favourite genre. Horror is my favourite genre, and specifically haunted house stories are my favourite. I just cannot get enough of them, and this was just very different to all the other ones I've read before. So yeah, really enjoyed. Let me know what you guys think, or if you're thinking about picking up this book. It was just a little short and sweet book review. Like I said, I can't get too in depth in this book because I feel like the more I say, the more it's going to give away, and it was really nice to read this book going in not knowing a lot about it, because it meant that a lot of the stuff that was happening was kind of surprising for me. So I don't want to say too many of the aspects in this book because I want it to be surprising for you guys. I would just highly recommend it and say go read it. If you are interested, pick it up. If you love haunted house stories and you're looking for something a little bit different, pick it up. It's a tiny bit slow towards the beginning, then the more you get into it, it gets more and more faster paced, and like I said, I think it wraps up really nicely. So yeah, let me know your thoughts down below, and that's all I have to say. So until next time, thank you for watching. Bye guys.